What's going on? Welcome to step 1. Today we're going to be looking at steps for creating forms using Adobe Acrobat. Now these steps are really great for anybody who's looking to reduce the amount of paper they're printing, or for people that just want to add some additional functionality to a form that they've designed already, but it's not really functional yet. It doesn't have fillable fields and buttons, and people can't really do much with it other than print it. The first thing you're going to need is a form. I don't recommend making the form in Adobe Acrobat. Adobe Acrobat has lots of excellent functionality for forms, but a lot of that functionality relates to enriching existing PDFs rather than actually designing them from scratch. When you want to design the PDF, you're much better going with a program like Microsoft Word or Adobe InDesign. Or, of course, another application, similar application like Apple's Pages. So here's the form we're going to be using for these steps. As you can see, it's a basic contact form, and it just allows people to select the service type they're after, enter their name, address, and contact information. It also has a blank section at the bottom that we're going to be using to add a few buttons later. This entire form was created using the table tools of Microsoft Word. I've adjusted the borders in different areas so that the areas that we want to become fields when we take this information into Adobe Acrobat are surrounded on all sides by borders, where the areas that we want to just not be detected as fields have no borders. They're clear borders indicated by these dashed lines. Now the second step is to take this form and convert it to a PDF. Now if you're in Microsoft Word, there are two ways that you can do this. You can either come up here, save as, select PDF from the export formats, or if you've got Adobe Acrobat installed, you can click on the Acrobat tab in the ribbon, and then click yes. Okay, now our form's been automatically opened in Adobe Acrobat, and as you can see, we don't actually have any great functionality here. These are just empty boxes, but we're going to change that now using a tool called Prepare Form. You can click Prepare Form, but if you don't see it, click More Tools, and then under Forms and Signatures, click Prepare Form. It'll ask you which file you'd like to use to create the form. It's going to default to the open file, but you can also scan a file, or you can create a new file. For this tutorial, let's have a look at the contact form. So Adobe's made its best guess about which fields should be text fields. As you can see, it's not perfect. These name fields should probably be text fields. And I think I'd also like this city field to be a text field. There's also this service type field at the top, which I would like to be a drop-down list rather than a text field. So let's fix all that now. Firstly, let's remove this service type option, and then let's zoom in. We're going to add a text field. This is the same field that's so far been used to create the form, and we're going to create our first name field. Now I'm going to intentionally create a field that's much larger for this second one, just so I can show you a nifty feature that Adobe Acrobat has when it comes to creating these fields. What we're going to do is we're going to get these fields to match size using the Properties panel. And you want to make sure that the one that's going to have the target height and width is surrounded by the dark blue border. Then come over here to the Properties panel, say match size, and then we have an identically sized field. Done. Okay, let's just add the last few fields here. Okay, our next step is to add a few drop-down lists. You've got a lot of options up here, as you can see. You can add checkboxes, radio buttons, a list of options in a field. I'll show you what that looks like in a later video, but for the moment this is the one we want, drop down list. Got a drop down list there. And so another one for state. Okay, so we've added our drop-down lists. Now we need to add the options to the drop-down list. So right-click the drop-down list, select Properties, click Options. And here we're going to add our services. We're offering technical writing. We're offering creative writing. And we're offering editing and proofreading. You can click sort items to sort these alphabetically, but we're not going to do that because we want to provide an additional option to allow people to select, encourage people to select one of the options here, and this has to be at the top. Let's add that, and we're going to move that up, and then we're going to alphabetize these ourselves. So let's close that. Now we're going to just quickly do the same thing for the state. And if we preview that now, we can see that people can select an option from this drop-down list and from this drop-down list. It's looking good. Now that we've prepared the basic functionality of the form, you notice we have this confirm email field down here. This needs to match exactly with this email field here and provide some sort of alert or notification to the user when it doesn't match. And we're just going to do this using some JavaScript. Now, Adobe has a great JavaScript reference for Adobe Acrobat, and I'll provide a link to this reference in the description below. So we're going to add this by right-clicking the field, selecting Properties, and then coming to the Validate tab. Select Run a Custom Validation Script and Edit, and simply paste in your script here. So, what this script is going to do is it's going to look at the value of the field, and if it's not exactly the same as the value of the email field here, then it's going to create an alert saying the emails do not match, and it's going to change the color of the text in the confirm email field to be red. If everything's fine, it'll leave the color black. So let's have a look what that looks like. Let's put in the standard and then they don't match. That's no good. So let's just take out that, and then what happens? Okay, fantastic. The emails match. We're good to go. Okay, our form's looking good, but we still need to add those buttons. So open up the Prepare Form again, click Edit, and then click the button icon in the top here. I'm just going to drag out a button. I'm going to call this one Submit. I'm going to add another button. Remember, you can always match the size to an existing button or an existing field. You can also match the alignment. Done. And we're going to call this button Print, because people still want to print sometimes. Now, we've got our buttons, but they're pretty dull, so let's make them look a bit nicer. Right click, Properties, come into Appearance, and we're going to change the fill color to a nice green Submit button. We're going to change the text color to a white. Now we need to come in here and give our button a label. As you can see, it's come down here in nice white text. Now, finally, we need to add an action here. On mouse up, we're going to submit a form to the bottom here, and we just click Add. It's going to give us options here. Now, what we want to do here is we're going to say submit it to an email address, and we're going to put in the email address. We're going to select our export format. In this case, we want PDF, and you can just leave these other fields. Now let's do the same for the second field. Again, we're going to change the appearance. In this case, I think it'd be nice to have a nice orange color. We'll also use white for the texture. Put print on. And then in actions, instead of submit a form, we're going to execute a menu item. Click add. And then the menu item window will pop up and we can just say, we want the file print menu item. Close. And there you have it. Like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notifications icon to receive updates on future videos.